All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Cowboy Slot Channel. My name's Brantley, and this is Mark from Gamble Smart, the Gamble Smart channel. And we are here
Hey, man.
today. This is an open Q&A to answer your questions. So welcome in, everybody. Mark, it is wonderful to have you here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here. Another Sunday.
Another Sunday. Here we go. And what's funny is right before the show, I was actually looking at coming down to see you, Mark. I was looking at
Oh, okay.
a couple different options. So hopefully here soon we'll be able to make it down there and can go to WinStar and all of that.
Yes,
Probably a
definitely
couple
went
months.
far.
I still got to play those. I still got to play those red screens. Those
Man, they're
look
so
so
much fun.
fun.
We did a gambler audit yesterday, and I think we got on a red screen like 20, 30 minutes. We were talking about red screens and how fun they were. So it's totally different. At first, everybody just really doesn't like them. At first, they see the bingo machines and they say, the bells are annoying. It's loud. Like, I don't understand the red screens. I don't understand the bingo patterns. But man, if you get yourself in that mode and you learn about all that, it's a totally different game and it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more exciting, in my opinion. So don't be shy for those things. Everybody wants, they walk into those and they see them, they're like, why would I play that game? But we've done really well on them, and I can't wait for you to try them, Brantley. I think you're going to fall in love with them for
I know
sure.
they have big potential, absolutely big
Oh yeah,
potential. I'm
yes they
I'm
do.
excited to
Yeah.
play them. But anyway, guys, if this is your first time here, this is an open forum Q&A. You guys are welcome to ask any questions you'd like. We do try to get through as many questions as we possibly can. But if we do happen to miss your question, you can always ask your questions 24/7 on the website, which is ropethejackpot.com/chat. It's a free to use chat room. There's also, you can talk to other people in your area. It's really cool. And again, always free to use. Let's go ahead. We'll dive into some questions here. We'll
Okay.
get started. Tony Plans. Hey, Cowboy, does it ever make sense to adjust your bet during play? Now, Mark, I know you recently did an episode on this.
Yeah.
Is this, why don't we both tackle this one?
Yeah, I think this is a good
Okay.
topic. Yeah, go for it.
So I'm gonna say this. Does it ever make sense to adjust your bet? The only time for me that it really makes sense to adjust your bet is depending on where you're at with your budget. So, like, if you put in $300 into the machine, you're doing really, really good, then up your bet, push your luck a little bit more. You're playing on winnings at that point. If you're not doing so hot, then lower your bet. That to me is really the only time that it would be good to adjust your bet. But don't get caught up in the other reasons. And I'll let Mark explain those other reasons because he just did a video on it.
Yeah, this is really funny, and this was really sparked by watching a lot of YouTube and watching players do this. It's called ladder betting or step betting. And the idea, and I'm using those in quotes, but the idea is that you cycle through the denominations and then the bet, like the credit size, until you find one of those that produces a win. And then you stay on that because you found the winning combination between denomination and credit bet. And that's certainly not true. And again, the reason why we put that kind of stuff out is to make sure you guys are fully aware that you don't have control over the machine. Like, the machine has control over you. You do not have control over the machine. So cycling through those bet sizes and then getting a win is again confirmation bias. It makes you feel like you're the one that caused that, and so you're going to keep playing at that level. That's a big no-no. Don't do it for that reason. Do it for the reason that Brantley just said. Because you listen, like, you do want to hit the bonus round on a higher bet. That's what you want ultimately, right? So, try it every now and then. I mean, I do this too. I'll start on just 9 credit bets or 18 credit bets, and then I get a few wins in there, and I'm like, you know what? I'll do 5 spins at max bet just to see what happens. We do this at WinStar all the time, but I'm doing it just to see if I can catch it at that level, not because I'm testing it to see if it's a winnable level. Okay. And unfortunately, there's YouTubers out there that say that that's what they're doing on purpose, is to try to find that winning formula. And it just doesn't exist. So just keep the one cardinal rule in mind that we're always talking about. You cannot control the machine, period. There's nothing you
Absolutely.
can do to manipulate it by combinations of bet sizes. So yeah,
Well said, Mark.
be
And
safe.
yes, gamble smart and gamble safe, which is what Mark's
That's right.
channel is all about, guys. If you haven't yet checked out Mark's channel, Gamble Smart, Gamble Safe, be sure to do that. It is linked in the video description of this video, by the way. And J
Thank you,
Dog, thank
Brantley.
you very much for gifting those 10 Cowboy Slots memberships.
Wow,
We
that's
do we
cool.
do have an optional membership program here on YouTube, and a part of that is you get an additional live stream on Mondays. So Monday is our Member Monday show, and then also members get access, early access to videos before everybody else does. So thank you very much, J Dog. Really do appreciate that. All right, Mark, I can hand it over to you for the next one if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of good questions in here already. Let's see. Uh, Blah LV says, "I love the channel. Quick question about the locks block box method. Let's say you take $300 in the casino and you get quick up to $500. Do you put the $200 profit away or your original stake of 300?" So really, it's personal. Like you need to put something in there. It's really up to you what you want to put in there. In that scenario, I would put the $200 profit and then go back to my original budget and try to do it again. Brantley, is that the same that you would do, or you think of something else?
That's what I would do.
Take half of it or whatever, but put
Yeah.
something in there.
Yeah, as long as you're putting something in the box, that's
Yeah.
the key thing. Go home
Yeah.
with money. That's
Yeah.
the whole idea of the box.
You don't want to go home with an empty box every time because if that's happening, you're not doing something right. You know, there is going to be a point in most scenarios when you play slots that you're going to be up a little bit, but people just continue to keep playing. That's the big problem. And so you should have some. Now, I'm going down a street here. Sometimes you will go into a casino and you can't seem to get a win to save your life. Like we've all been there. But most times you actually do get wins, but you're spending it back into the machine. So you should always be coming home with something in the box, even if it's 10 or 20 bucks. And try to
Right.
make that a goal next time you're in the casino. Say, I'm going to put something in this box before I leave. And try to make that a goal and then just try to increase it every single time you go.
And hey, speaking of boxes, Lisa with the $100 super chat. Lisa, thank you
Wow.
very much. We
Awesome,
really
Lisa.
do appreciate that. Super chats and super stickers are greatly helpful to the channel and greatly appreciated. So, Lisa, we really thank you for that. I had to share the wealth with my slot sensei hand pay on Mustang Money too. $5 a spin and $700 on triple stars. $2 a spin. I left over three times with what I came in with, thanks to my lockbox. Thanks for all you
Yes,
do.
we
See,
were
those
just talking about that.
lockboxes are
Yes.
helpful. Very
Yep.
good. And thank you again, once again, for that super chat. Really do appreciate it, Lisa. Very generous of you. And Keith, welcome into the show. Glad to have you here. Let's see here. Mason asks, can you guys do a video on RAM clears? So Mark actually has another channel, Home Slots. He does a lot of those home repairs, a lot of RAM clears and stuff on there. So be
Used
sure to
to,
look up. Yeah, be sure to
but I've
look up
looked them
Home
all up,
Slots.
yeah.
Yeah, be sure to look up Home Slots because that's going to be where you'll find a lot of those at. Mark's really good at that stuff. He's really helpful. All right. Alan says the red screen sounds like a haywire machine feature. Kind of is in its
Yeah, it's
own
very
unique
similar, yeah.
way. It really kind of is.
Yep.
CSX says my local casino with a high limit room has a row of $5 denom games with progressives. All have amber colored numbers beside the highest progressive was red. Could this mean it's going to hit? No. Um, it would clearly say must hit by somewhere. So it could just be that highest progressive, maybe has different color LEDs or something. I don't know, but it is not a must hit buy unless it specifically says must hit buy. And that's something that a lot of people really get caught up in, is thinking that, just because a progressive is high or it's capped, that it's a must hit buy. And that's not the case. So always be sure to make sure, if you're looking for a must hit buy progressive, make sure that machine does say must hit by or must win by. It's got to have those words in there.
Yep.
But thank you very much for your question. All right, Mark.
And they can program those spectrum displays to be whatever color combination they
Right.
want. So you probably have seen some that like are rainbow, like they keep changing colors. They can set it to a specific color. So that's just all that they've done there. It doesn't give you any indication. All
Very
right, I'll
good.
take some here.
All right.
Let's see. I like this one. Cindy says, when the jackpot round allows you to pick the mini, minor, or major, it seems like you always get the mini. Are these things predetermined? Yes, they are definitely predetermined. If you're thinking about, say, dancing drums, let's use that as an example. Whenever you're picking the coins, if it doesn't show you where everything was after you match the three, it was predetermined. You're going to get what you're going to get. And of course, they're going to heavily stack the lower amounts. Think of it like, a bucket full of balls. They're going to put if there's 100 balls in there, 90 of them are going to be the mini or the minor. Only one of them's the grand. So it's like that's how they do it. That's how they stack it. Same as like the Wheel of Fortune wheel spin. It's crazy to me that I've even heard people think that it's just like the wheel on the TV show, that it's actually driven by gravity, and whatever it lands on was just no. They could never do that, and that's why you always get the 20s, the 25s, and the 30s, because those are the wedges that are heavily weighted, and it will always be that way, the lower amount. So yeah, that's what's going on there, but it's totally predetermined. That's why when that thing comes up, I just go blah all over the screen and just get it over with, because it's already there's no you don't need to like study it and say let's see, if I pick this one, then it's got to be this. No, it's predetermined. So, a good
100%.
question, Cindy.
Very good question, Cindy. Really do appreciate it. Got some shout outs here. Slot Bunny is here.
Hey,
Welcome in,
Slot
Slot
Bunny.
Bunny.
Good to see
Appreciate
you.
you being here. Has an awesome channel. I ran into her at Wendover last time I
Oh,
was there.
cool. Okay.
And also we got Slot Machines Unlimited in the house. Slot Machines Unlimited, we just did a really awesome live stream with them on I believe it was Thursday. So if you missed that live stream, be sure to check it out. Slot Machines Unlimited is the nation's largest retailer of slot machines. So if you are like Mark and myself and you would like to get slot machines for your house, Slot Machines Unlimited is the place to do it. Be sure to check out that live stream in the live playlist of the library. All right,
Yeah, that was
Keith
a
on
fun
Facebook.
show.
Yeah, it was a good show. It was a really good show. Learned a lot. Keith on Facebook asks, "Are Indian casinos harder to win?" Absolutely not. No, the machines aren't going to
Oh,
be
yes.
any different at a tribal casino than they are at a regular casino.
Where
Mark,
the
do you want
hell
to?
where the hell did that start, by the
I
way?
have no
Like, why
idea.
that is like one of the most popular things people think, is that Indian casinos are rigged, they pay less, their payouts are terrible, they don't publish stats. It's like I I don't know where that started, but it's total garbage. Like, it really
It's
is.
one of those myths again.
Yeah. It's just strange. Like, I don't know where the basis of it is. Like, that's what I always want to know, where did the rumor start? Like, what was the cause of the rumor? Was there an article that came out that we haven't read that said, "Oh, Indian casinos are, pay 10% less than everybody else," which would be a bogus
Technically,
article, but
and
you know.
technically, if you actually look at it, technically, if you actually look at the numbers and the returns, stuff like that, tribal casinos typically statistically will pay more than a
Especially
non-tribal
smaller ones.
casino.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, especially the smaller
they
ones.
got to have
So,
the business. So,
yeah, 100% a myth on that.
yep.
All right, Mark, I'll let you grab a couple if
Okay.
you want.
Sounds good. Let's see. JJ says, "Hello, cowboy. If you hit a hand pay and refuse to give your SS number, will the casino pay you? Will casino ban you? Can you attain a player's card if you refuse to give your SS number? You will have to give your social security number at some point. Otherwise, they will not. They will deny your jackpot. It's got to be reported if it's over 1,200 or more. It's got to be reported. Now, if you can't provide your social security number, let's say you don't have it memorized and you need the card, I think they will hold it for a certain period of time and allow you to go get it and come up to claim your jackpot. But there's no way to avoid taxes, and they're going to look up your social to make sure it matches your ID and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you just cannot
Right.
escape paying taxes. So,
Can't
unfortunately,
escape it.
yeah, can't escape it. If you're worried about it, go play in Canada where there's no taxes. That's what I
Right.
would say. And KT says, "I went to Windstar Casino, which is an Indian bingo, and it had stated that they had reset the machines." What does that mean? I have no idea. I don't know who stated that. If you have a picture or anything like that, you can email us. But I don't know what that means, reset the machines. Sometimes they will do resets on machines just to refresh them. And refresh does not mean change the payback percentage. It doesn't mean to set it to win or lose. It just means they're restarting it just like your computer. That's exactly what's happening. The reason they do that is because it's called like memory leaking, and basically the longer a machine's program has been running, you might end up in a bonus round where the screen's like really choppy. It's not like fluid and stuff like that. And so they will restart the machines just to kind of get that back in line. But it's not because of payback or anything like that. None of that stuff can be altered by restarting the machine anyway. So that's probably what was going on, but it's hard to tell without a picture or understand like who actually said that, and we can figure out why. So,
Right.
all right, Brantley,
Good
back to you.
good question though.
Yep.
Angie asks, "Are the online slots such as Chumba real?" So this one,
Mhm.
here's the thing. First of all, Chumba is not slots at all. In no way, shape, or form is it slots. And actually, if you look on their website, believe it or not, because they are a sweepstakes. Now, the legalities of it, are sweepstakes legal in most states? Yes, I know that that's actually been changing recently. There's a couple of states that have started to put the hammer down on it and say no. Um, but they are not slot machines. They are a sweepstakes, and they even use McDonald's as an example, which is
Yep.
which is kind of sad. Um, you're playing a sweepstakes. You're not playing a slot machine. It does not work like a slot machine in any way, shape, or form. The only time that there are legitimate online slot machines, they're going to be there's only about 6 states in the country that have real online slot machines. And the only companies out there that operate real online slot machines, you've got FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, MGM. Those are going to be your big four right there. If it's something like Chumba or Lucky Land or, you know, ABC, Lucky Casino, whatever, it's not a real slot machine. You're playing a sweepstakes. You're playing a game that looks like a slot machine, but it is not a real slot machine. So be very cautious about that. I really do not recommend any online gamble. The only time that I would say online gambling is okay is if you are doing something legitimate like FanDuel or DraftKings or Caesars or MGM, then it's legitimate and okay. But anything other than that, no, stay away from it.
I'm going to go on a little mini rant here about
Go ahead.
social social casinos. Here's the thing I really want you guys to understand is that the regulation of these things is what you really should be focusing on. There is nothing preventing these social casinos from giving you wins when you sign up and then over time reducing your payback percentage. There's no oversight for that. Like they could do things like that to monkey with what your returns are over time. So you hear stories about people that signed up for Chumba and I don't know, I deposited 200 and I turned it into 600 and cashed out and I got my money. Yeah, but they are banking on the fact that you're probably going to keep coming back. And there's nothing preventing them from tightening things up for you whenever you log in again. And that is why gaming commissions are so critical and so important. And the reason that we want you to play in licensed casinos because of that oversight and restrictions and all that kind of stuff, so that you know, no matter which casino you're going to or which, if you're using your player's card or not, it's true and fair for everybody. And that's why we heavily promote going to actual licensed casinos. These social casinos, you don't know what the hell they're doing. And that scares me enough to never play there. Um, Now, if they want to, obviously they're spending up like crazy. Every month there's a new social casino. I mean,
Mhm.
it's really, and I think Michigan is the state that they added. So I think it's Washington State. Was it Washington State or
Yeah,
Oregon? One of those
Washington.
states, Washington State, and I think Michigan's the next one that banned it. You know, it's either going to get banned or they're going to put controls over it. And if they do end up putting controls over it, my opinion might change a little bit about social casinos, but there's just no controls in place. There's nobody overlooking these guys to make sure they're not doing anything nefarious. And that's enough to scare the crap out of me. And I won't ever play them for that reason alone. You just don't know what they're doing. So, soapbox is done. Just our recommendation is stay away from them. I mean, I don't see that changing
Yeah.
anytime soon, at least for me.
Plus, it's not fun. I've
Yeah.
never understood that. I mean, part of the thing about going to the casino is the environment, and you're actually there physically playing the machine, and you can, get physical money in your hand and stuff like that. Playing slots on your phone, just I don't know. It doesn't do it for me at all
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Yeah. It's tough. You
But
got to be in the environment.
yeah,
You want to be in there. And, you know, I always say this, but like the thought of playing blackjack while on the toilet for real money just doesn't. I mean, that just leads you down a bad path. Like, I mean,
yeah,
it's too convenient. You got to have. I mean, maybe you have a lot of willpower and you can do that, but man, if I were to get access to something like that, I feel like I couldn't control myself. It'd be too easy to deposit money into that and just play when I wake up in the middle of the night or just play when I'm, in a boring meeting or something. I mean, there's just I don't want that. Like I want to be able to go to the casino with my budget in hand and leave all my cards at home so that I have the controls. Plus, it's just way more exciting. Like you get the bells, you get the comps, you get all that stuff. Save your money and do it that way if you can.
Exactly. Good question, Angie. Really do
Yeah,
appreciate you.
really good one. I know it opened up a can there, but that's
It
good.
did. Billy says, Cowboy Slots, how can I get one of those lock boxes? We do have them on our shop, which is ropethejackpot.com /shop. So you can always go on there. I'll put that link up on the screen for you to grab one of those lock boxes. And Derek on Facebook says, Cowboy Slots, we love you. Been winning a lot more listening to your advice. That's wonderful. Thank you. It just makes for a better casino experience when you are going in with a clear head and actually knowing the truth and knowing what you're doing, and you're not thinking about all of those myths, and we titled this episode today as Mythbusters because we want to really focus on that too. Um,
Yeah.
when you're not focused on all of the crap, all of the myths, all of that, and you go in with a clear mind, you're going to do a lot better at the casino, because even if you're losing, you're setting yourself stop limits, you're knowing what to look for, stuff like that. That's really the big key element here. The people that go into the casino and they're just like, oh, I got to go because it's 3 in the morning, I got to fast tap through this game, I got to do this,
Yeah,
I got to pull my card out. It's like you're ruining yourself by
yeah,
doing that. That's
yeah.
it. So really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right.
Very true.
Good question here from Mark. What kind of maintenance can I expect to have with a 3 blade WMS wheel slot?
Oh, okay. So Blade WMS. Actually, not much. Those are really solid machines. Keep it powered on. That's all you got to do. Those are the three real blades. The blade steppers are really good machines. They're a lot better than the BB2s. So you're in good shape, JD. Just keep it powered on if you can.
All right. Let's see. Frank has a question here. Why does no one ever talk about auto roulette being not real and random? It is real and it
It
is
is real
random
and it
how
is
it
random.
works. And
That's why people don't talk about it.
this is the funny thing. I mean, electronic table games comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is like, those big automatic roulette machines or bubble craps or anything like that. Those are actually devices that I do work on. I routinely work on those particular devices, and it is random. Like when it shoots the ball out or spins the ball on the roulette wheel, the machine does not even read until that ball lands, whether it's a digital ball or a physical ball that is being shot out by air. The machine does not even read it until the ball lands on that wheel. So the wheel spin is random. It does not know where the ball is going to land, nor does it force the ball to land in any particular place. The only control mechanism with those machines is how much it pays. So that's really about it. But other than that, those machines, they are random. They are random. All right, Mark, I'll let you go ahead and take one.
Okay. Sounds good. And they have to be
They
by
have to
law.
be.
They have to play that way. Chris Brown, so many people think casinos change the payback percentage during peak hours or holidays. Boy, where have we heard that? I work for my casino's gaming commission. They absolutely do not. The software we receive from the manufacturer will not even allow us to set them below 85% return to the player. Our state
Hallelujah.
minimum set, our compact is 83%. Thank you, Chris, for making this comment. We're always looking for validation. We don't need it because we're confident in what we're saying, but it,
But
it's
thank you.
it, it's always nice to hear that, and it's a big lesson to you guys that what you're experiencing when you go sometimes you win and you go sometimes and you lose is not the casino changing the payback percentage. It's just your luck was just not there the night that you lost. That's all that's going on. I mean,
That's it.
but everybody's trying to blame everybody but themselves for what has happened in the casino. And you got to get past that if you want to do well as a gambler. You have to get past that and understand that we were just talking about gaming commissions and why they exist. It's to protect from that kind of stuff going on. It's a big process, and people don't see that. They just assume, well, everything's networked these days. Well, boy, how many comments have we received on this, Brantley? And
Too
everything's
many.
networked. They're all connected to the
It's
computer
like you have
systems.
no
Yes, they
idea how
are,
that
but just
network
because they
works.
are doesn't mean that that is what is going on. There are restrictions in place, and every single manufacturer has to put this inside of their brain boxes, their CPUs, to ensure that casinos can't do that kind of stuff, and they would never risk their gaming license trying to skirt around that. So, use your head, think about like what's actually going on in the casino. They put a machine in there and it sits there and it's like the best money maker. I wish I owned a casino because I would just buy a bunch of machines, I'd set them, and I'd sit there and just forget about them and then just rake in the money, and that's all they need to do. They don't need to monkey with it because our revenue goals are down this month, and we need to go in there and tighten all the machines up. Like they don't need to do all that kind of stuff. If their revenue goals are down, they're going to do tournaments, they're going to do free play, they're going to do stuff to get people in there playing because that is how they generate revenue. An empty casino is how they lose revenue. A full casino is how they get revenue. Changing the payback percentage is not how they get revenue. So, okay, exactly. I'm done with that one.
Exactly.
I want people to understand this stuff so they can be smarter with what they're doing, because it's just, stop blaming the casino for all your problems on a slot machine. There's something else. It's either the game you're playing is too high in volatility. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, J-Dog. They're playing a game that's too high in volatility. They're going outside of their budget comfort zone, and that's why they're losing. They don't know when to cash out. They just keep playing and spending off all their wins. Like, that's what's going on. That's why you're not doing well in a casino. It's not because of the casino. Now, they're encouraging that stuff because that's the way it is. But if you play smart and you know that that's what's going on, you will be able to detect that and do things to mitigate that psychological pull that these machines have on you. But it's up to you. It is not up to the casino to do that. So
exactly.
We'll get there, guys. We'll get there.
You ready to get on another soapbox here, Mark?
I think so.
Our soapboxes are never ending tonight.
I know. It's
Ryan says, can you go over the fast tap, please? There is a guy that commented on your post. He says his friend is a slot maintenance guy in California Indian casinos. He swears fast stopping is legit and that you are wrong versus hitting the button once. Please respond to my question. Guys, it tells you in the damn game. I can't be any more clear about this. Go to the game rules. If you don't believe it, look at the game rules.
Yeah.
Jesus. Like, it
and
tells
if that guy
you,
really does think that, his ass should be fired.
Screen.
Like, because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Like, it's right in front of your face. Like, on the screen, it tells you. And not only that, but in order for that fast stop feature to work, here's the thing. You want the technical breakdown? I'll give you the technical breakdown. This is exactly how the fast stop feature works, okay? On a regular slot machine that does not have fast tap, let's look at an older machine. You hit the spin button. Once you hit the spin button, the random number generator will decide a stop for reel 1, then reel 2, then reel 3. That is on an older classic game. On games where you can fast stop, in order for that feature to work, what has to happen is when you hit the spin button, it pulls all of the stops for all of the reels at once. That is how that feature is able to work. When you hit that button, all you're doing to fast stop the reels is to expedite it and show you that same screen. That is it. That is how the mechanics of the feature actually work. Now let's talk about this. People say, oh, well, it changes up your timing. Okay, let me put this into a visual for you. Picture an Olympic-sized swimming pool, okay? You know how big an Olympic-sized swimming pool is. Same depth, length, width, all that. Picture an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And in that Olympic-sized swimming pool, there are 100 million ping pong balls. 100 million ping pong balls. One of those balls is red to signify the jackpot, like the big top line jackpot, progressive, grand, whatever it is. And all those ping pong balls are just sitting there cycling. And you got this person over here, and your job is to reach in and grab 5 balls, 1 ball for each reel. And you're sitting there and you're grabbing 5 balls out. Now picture this. Every time you move your arm, it's another bet. It's another $5. Okay. How stupid would you look sitting there at the side of the pool just doing this all day? I gotta get it. I gotta get it. I gotta get it. Look at the size of the pool, guys.
Yeah.
It's not, you think you're changing your timing. You're not changing shit.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
I mean, Christ. That's my soapbox for that.
I can't even add anything to that. That was great.
Exactly.
It's just fast stopping is not a thing. And again, guys, they would never. Slot machines are not skill based. That
You
would be a
can't
skill,
you
you know.
cannot affect a slot machine, no matter
Yeah,
what. You can't affect a slot machine.
yeah. You
So,
don't have control over the slot machine. The slot machine has control over you. Just remember
well
that.
said. Very well said.
Just remember that.
Exactly. All right, Mark.
Okay, I've got a good one here. You guys are getting deep here. Carrie Russell says, question, and my apologies if I answered this already. That's okay. That's okay. It happens. If a machine is set to pay out at 93% and then it's changed at some point to say pay out at 80%, which would not happen. But what's actually changing with the machine to get that lower payout? That's some possible winning real combinations removed. Yeah, so basically what happens when there's a payback percentage change, and these are fixed programs in the actual machine. So most machines have anywhere from 3 to say 10 different options that a casino can pick from. Each one of those has different reel strips, and they're virtual reel strips. So think of them not as like physical ones, but virtual ones, like very long ones. Some cases, thousands of symbols long. What they do to change the payback percentage is they manipulate what the RNG can pick from. So instead of a cherry, if it needs to increase, let's say it needs to increase the payback percentage, they'll take a cherry out and replace it with a single bar. Okay. If they need to decrease it, they will take the cherry out and replace it with a blank. But over the long period of time, over all the math that occurs on that machine, it will eventually work out to that payback percentage based on what the RNG can pick from. And so that's, I mean, this leads into a big question where people are always asking, well, are slot machines random? And the answer is always yes and no. Okay. The the random aspect of it is that you don't know what the RNG is going to pick from on that virtual reel, or that would result in what you see on the physical slot machine. You don't know that. The machine doesn't know it. The manufacturer doesn't know it. Casino, nobody knows it. Okay. You don't know what it's going to pick. But the control, the non random aspect of it is that it has to pick from something. So think of like a deck of cards, like I have up here. You picking a random card out of there is a random event, right? You don't know what you're going to end up pulling out of there, but the control is that it has to be one of 52 cards. It has to be one of those. Slot machines work exactly the same way, but instead of 52 cards, think of 1,000 cards with all different symbols on them. So that's how they can control the payback percentage, is that they change what the RNG is actually picking from. But just try to remember, again, because of that, that's why even a change from 93 to 80 could not even be visualized in such a short term. That's a pretty big change, but even then, it's not something. If you did 200 or 500 spins, you would not be able to tell the difference. It would take a lot longer than that because of how all the RNG works with those, picking the virtual symbols. So hopefully that clears it up. Hope you guys feel a little bit more educated about what the RNG is doing there, because I think it's kind of geeky. Like if you really want to dive into it, there's a lot of good articles out there about the math behind slot machines. It's a good rabbit hole to get into sometime.
Exactly. Mike says, "What do you think about games like more Huff and Puff?" Well, here's the thing: they are fun.
Very fun.
I mean, they are very fun. But man, you want to, we just gave an example of a Olympic sized swimming pool. Now take that Olympic sized swimming pool and amplify it by like 100. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very difficult game. It is a very, very difficult game. It is not one that you want to sit there and just keep dumping your money into, because you're gonna be sitting there dumping a lot of money into that game. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it is a fun game. It is fun, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's a fun game, high volatility.
Very
Definitely one of the games that you need to decide before you even approach it how many spins you're going to do, and commit to that, because that game is designed to take over, to completely take you over. This is what high volatility games are: completely take you over so that you get in the mode of chasing. I've got to get that bonus. I've got to get that bonus. That's why I'm playing Huff and Puff, because the line hits are garbage. So I'm playing to get the bonus.
right.
Well, guess what? It's really hard to get the bonus. Okay. And the bonus can be rewarding, but that's why you want to just try to catch it on a limited budget or a limited set number of spins and hope that you do. But if you don't, you got to be willing to get up off of that machine and go play something else. And that's where people just fall into the trap of high volatility games, is that they just feed it and feed it and feed it and feed it. And by then you are chasing a loss, because even if you get the bonus game finally, you don't even get back to where you started. So make that correlation with high volatility games like Huff and Puff because it's very dangerous. Like if you keep chasing, you just don't do it.
Yeah,
Commit to it before you
don't
succeed.
get into the chase. That's the biggest
Yeah,
thing. I mean,
yeah,
play it for
definitely.
fun. Honestly, it's one of those games that, I do like it because it is fun. I don't like it because it makes money. It's an entertainment game. It's not a gambler's
Yeah,
game. It's
yeah,
one of those where like that might be one that I might sit there, you know, at the penny level and play low bet penny denom because I'm not trying to chase anything. Not trying.
right.
I don't expect anything out of it. Just playing it for fun.
Yep,
That's one of those games, but very
exactly.
well
Yeah,
said. Thanks for
go into the
adding
right
that up, Mark.
expectations. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Barry says, "How is HHR regulated?" HHR is entirely regulated by your state. So it's parimutuel wagering. It's going to be regulated by the state's gaming commission, whatever state that it is in. And Larry says, "What are your thoughts on skill-based games?" So skill-based games, they're not too popular, but a lot of states have them. We do have them here in Wyoming as well. You can win money off of them. I've actually won quite a lot of money off of them, but don't treat it like a regular slot machine. Don't treat it like you're going to the casino. I mean, these games are, they're in bars, taverns, stuff like that. Max bet might be $3 here and there. Um, they're meant to be just something played fun on the side. And if you happen to win money, hey, you happen to win money. But not one of those games I would really recommend like investing into or going to like making a special trip just to play them. But that's just me. I don't know. Texas obviously doesn't have skill games, do they, Mark? Not at
No,
all.
no, just bingo halls. That's all we got in lottery.
Exactly. Let's see. Tref, Tref. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Tried asking earlier if casinos are allowed to plant fake players to play on and win on YouTube. No, and that's the thing. Like the casino has no actual control over the slot machines. They can't make a slot machine hit or do anything like that. There's nothing like that that a casino can even do. And no, that's not a thing. And we do have a super chat here from Kim and Scott, 4.99. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate that. I know each denom is independent, but is each bet amount independent? So this is a good question.
Mhm.
There are certain games out there. The percentages are not set any different, but there are certain games out there that might have advantages to betting higher. Well, Mark, you've got the Huff and More Puff
Yeah,
there at your house. How are the settings on that? Because I know that's kind of bet specific on getting that grand. Do you want to
it
elaborate a
is.
little more on that?
Yeah, it is. So payback percentage is still set on denomination, not on credit bet size. But your chances of getting the major or the grand progressive increase the higher your credit bet. And the reason that is purely because your bet size is closer to those amounts. Okay. Does that make sense? So if you're betting 75 credits, your odds of getting the grand are lower than if you're betting 750 credits. But it's not like, well, I want to get the grand, so I'm going to go to 750 and just play there, even though my budget is $3 to spend. Don't do it for that reason. I'm just saying that if you do play enough bonus rounds on Huff and More Puff, you will notice that if you're on the max credit bet for your denomination, that you'll get the mini and the minor way more frequently than you would if you were betting this the minimum 75. But it's not like a bigger chance. It's just that you're closer to those amounts. It's a little deceiving, and the way they explain it in the rules is total BS. Like it doesn't make any sense to the average player.
Right.
But that's actually what's going on there. So, but yeah, hopefully I answered your question. And thanks for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you very much. We do have another super chat here from Gary, $10 super chat. Gary, thank you very much for that. I've been playing a lot of Buffalo Link and I'm doing okay. How would you rate the volatility of that game? That is one that I have seen the par sheet too, and it is very, very, very long. It is very high in volatility for sure.
Yeah,
If you're doing okay on it, again, set hard limits. If it's a game you like to play, set yourself hard limits on it because it really can. I mean, it can drain you eventually. It's a really difficult game. But thank you very much for your super chat, Gary, and best of continued luck to you. All right, Mark, I'll let you go ahead and grab one.
okay. My wife's in here doing a shout out. Hey,
Hey,
Jody.
Jody.
from a tour bus in Costa Rica. She's down there with her some of her kids from school. So good to see you in here, Jody. Thanks for joining. All right. DA Shellfield says, do you advise against going to the casino as a first date? Man, I have never heard this question before.
That's a first. That's a first.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's better than meeting somebody in a bar. I don't know. I don't know. I guess it depends on like if you I mean if you both love gambling and you both love casinos, I guess it's a good idea. I mean, why not?
You could do a
But
psyche evaluation of how the other person handles their losses.
yeah, it's like, they're a little reckless. I think this date's going to end pretty quickly.
Right.
You know? That's a really good question. I
That
really
is
don't know that
that is a
answer.
good one.
And Sheila says, going to Shreveport in May, Boyd property or Caesar property for starting the comp process. Boyd properties are pretty tight. Caesars isn't that great either. But between the two, I would probably pick Caesars. I'll have to ask Dave too. Dave, if you're in here, I don't know which you would think is the better one, but I think the Boyd has always been historically pretty bad with giving back like comps and stuff like that. So yeah, Caesars is also good because I guess there's probably more. No, I bet there's more Boyd properties than Caesars. Now that I think about it. Anyway, that's a Dave question. Hopefully he's in here and we'll put it up. And let's see. I'll do one more
Yeah,
Brantley and hand it
go
on
ahead.
back. Deborah Davis says, when the casino is very busy and a machine's money taker is full, they say they cannot empty the machine. Why? So, yeah, this happens. This is a casino policy thing. Most casinos do the cash drops at certain times of the day, and they don't deviate from that because it's a secure process. You could probably, if you've ever been in a casino long enough, you'll eventually see the big cage on wheels going down, and there's like 3 security guards flanking it. That's the cash boxes, and they don't empty the cash on the floor. They just take the box out, put it in there, and then put a clean one in there. But it's a very big process, and you can imagine like they have certain times during the day that they have to do this and get it done in. There are exceptions though. If you're a high roller and you want to play your $500 pinball machine, they will absolutely go
They
there
will
and
do a
make an
drop.
exception and unload it. Just so you'll play that. But it requires. We actually witnessed this, I think, at Park MGM. There was some guy playing the $100 pinball there, and the cash can got too full. And yeah, they had to make an exception. It was just like security and everything was over there to do it. But most of the time, they just let it sit full and it disables it until they get to their drop. But that usually happens overnight. 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning is when they come through and clean all that out. So if your machine at the end of the day is full, just try back in the morning and it should be okay.
Absolutely. And hey, we got 754 people watching right now on all platforms. Thank you very much,
Awesome.
everybody,
Thank
for
you, guys.
tuning in. Guys, if you're watching on Facebook or X, be sure to head over to YouTube and subscribe. That's where we do have all of our full content. And speaking of YouTube, also Bobby Earl has gifted 10 memberships. Thank you very much, Bobby, for that. If you do receive a gifted membership, you now have access to our Member Mondays, which will be tomorrow. It's a really fun, really laid back show, easy going. And also, members do get early access to our videos. So, thank you very much for that, Bobby. Really do appreciate it. I have a couple more super chats here, too. Sue, $10. Thank you very much, Sue. 2 guys playing $20 a spin, winning jackpots yesterday, told me I need to raise my denom of
Oh God,
$2 to $5 to 20 to win. They were playing triple double stars as I was in double gold. I was not winning.
that
So,
kills me.
yeah, Sue,
Go ahead, Brantley.
do not ever deviate from your own budget, whatever you're comfortable with. And this is one, I'll get into this in a next comment here after we get done with these super chats, but do not deviate from your own budget, whatever. You can
Yes.
still win at the $2 to $5 level. Absolutely you can. Don't listen to somebody when they say you've got to play outside of your budget. That's not healthy. Mark, do you want to add to that? I know you do.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's bad, horrible advice, and I can't stand it when I hear this in the casino. Like it's such bad information, and this will cause people to go down. Like we want to protect you, Sue, from that because that is a very slippery slope, and you may get that planted in your mind that That's why I wasn't winning. Again, confirmation bias. You're thinking because you were told that you have to bet at least $20 to win. You're like, maybe there's something to that. I'm going to do that, but that's not what I usually play. You need to talk yourself out of it and say, no, no, no. I'm going to stick to my $2 to $5 because it doesn't make any difference to raise your bet to 20. You might get a
Exactly.
jackpot. You might get a jackpot more likely at 20, but it's because you increased your bet. It's not because you figured out some magical way to the slot machine to pay out. So stick with your
Yeah.
budget. Brantley's
Always
right.
stick always stick with your budget. Which
Yes.
I'm gonna add to that. So I'm because this kind of ties in. So I'm gonna pull up this question, and this really does tie into this super chat from Sue. Paul says, "How do you guys feel about BC slots? I find him interesting and entertaining, but he seems to do a lot of risky things." So here's the thing. You know, we don't ever want to talk bad about any other channel, and BC slots. It is a very entertaining channel. He's the largest slot channel. He is very entertaining, but it is crucial not just with this channel, but every single slot channel you watch, whether you watch BC, whether you watch, Vegas Matt, whether you watch anybody like that, watch them for the entertainment, subscribe to their channels, give them those likes, leave them positive comments, positive feedback, all of that. These guys work very, very hard on their channels. All of these YouTubers work very, very hard on their channels, but never, ever try to emulate. The reason being is because you don't know what somebody else's financial situation is. So, you know, BC could walk into a casino and put $10,000 into a slot machine, lose it all, and be like, oh well, that's fine, and go home. But you as an individual, you know, you might not have the budget to do that. Like that could really harm somebody watching. Um, so that's why we always say stick within your own budget, especially watching YouTube. No matter who you watch, always watch for the entertainment, watch for the fun, but don't ever feel like you've got to run out and try to bet higher because you've seen somebody else betting higher. We don't want you to do that. We want you to stick within your own comfort level of playing every single time that you go to the casino. So I just wanted to pull that up really quick because it kind of tied into Sue's super chat. So thank you, Paul, for your question. Really do appreciate it. And thank you, Sue, for your super chat as well. We did have another super chat here from Gus499. Thank you very much, Gus. Really appreciate it. Explain volatility between
Mm.
5, 7, and 9 line pinball. Well, if the options there for 5, 7, and 9 line, obviously we're talking about the same game, which is going to be pinball double gold. Now, you want to play all available lines with that game. You definitely want to play all available lines with that game. That's going to be crucial. I would not sit down to play the double gold pinball and not play all of the available lines. That's really about all I can say about it. Volatility wise, on paper, and this is why we always add this nugget anytime that we're talking about volatility, and that is volatility goes in tandem with your budget. On paper, pinball double gold is lower in volatility. However, if you compare the same budget on the older pinball, the 3 reel where you only need one symbol, to the newer pinball, the exact same budget, then it's going to feel much higher in volatility because you're spending a lot more money. So, volatility on paper, slightly lower, but you do need an increased bankroll to play the game. That's the downside to it. So, I hope that that kind of helps to explain that. Mark, do you want to add any more to that?
No, I think I always say no, and then I follow it up with some. For pinball double gold, and this is actually true for all games. To maximize your return to player possibility on a game, you need to make sure that everything is covered in your bet. Okay. All bonus potentials, all progressive potentials, all free games, whatever the case is, you need to make sure whatever bet you're doing is covering all that stuff because the return to player is figured out based on that assumption. So if you're not covering all the lines or you're not covering enough to get the best bonus possibility, then you are hurting yourself in your return to player. Okay. So if that requires you on pinball double gold to go down in denomination so that you can do that 10 credit bet, that's what you need to do It's way better than jumping up to $5 and doing a 3 credit bet, if that makes sense. So try to always keep that in mind when you approach a slot machine. And this is getting a lot worse. It's a lot
Mhm.
back in the day when there was just spinning reels. It's very easy. You just sit down and hit bet max and you're done. Nowadays, the bet panels have 50 different options to pick from, and it's very complicated. But what you need to look at whenever you're approaching those games is what is the minimum amount that I need to bet to cover all of the features the game has available to me. So try to repeat that to yourself the next time you're at one of those games, and make sure that you're covered, because otherwise you're killing yourself. A good example of this is double top dollar. Brantley and I have seen so many people that will not bet max on that, which is reducing it by them not getting the bonus. They do not get the bonus. And so what they've done is taken themselves down into a situation where we're playing probably the worst version of double diamond possible. Because even though the base game on double top dollar is double diamond, it's not programmed the same as a standalone double diamond machine because of the bonus. And so you have to factor all those things in when you sit down in the machine. It's so crucial to make sure you're covering everything that the game has to offer, because otherwise you're just 10% my guess is 10% return to player you're losing by not covering everything. So be smart
Exactly.
about it.
And Lucky Jules Slots, thank you very much. Another 10 Cowboy Slots
I
memberships
think everybody
gifted.
in here
That
is going to be a
that is
member now.
awesome. I think, yeah, I mean, that's so far tonight, that's 30 memberships that are gifted. So that's awesome. If
Awesome.
you guys receive a gifted membership, then be sure to tune in tomorrow, because there's a way different live stream tomorrow for members. Members get a much more laid back casual live stream that's a lot of fun, and it's a lot more slower paced, and we do a lot of fun things in that. And we do some giveaways during those member streams. So that always happens on Monday, which is Member Monday. So thank you very much, Lucky Jules. And be sure to check out Lucky Jules as well. Run into them a couple times in Wendover. Wonderful people. Wonderful people. So be sure to check out their channel as well. All right. Let's see. Uh, all right. If I'm focused on bankroll management slash length of play, are double diamond, top dollar pinball my best bets? Technically, yeah. I mean, compared to most of the machines that you're going to find out on the floor today, they are going to be your best bets. Your double diamonds, your triple diamonds, your lower in volatility games. That is going to help to manage your bankroll and make it last a lot longer. Um, Pinball and top dollar, could go kind of either way on that. They're great games to play. They are. But you can also, like, I know pinball and top dollar is pretty much the same way. They're notorious for terrible line hits. You're really just playing for the bonus on that. So managing the bankroll, I mean, your length of play is not going to be as long as it would be on, say, a double diamond or something like that. But no, those are in general practice. Then yes, you are on the right path for that. I don't know, Mark, if you wanted to add anything to that.
No, that's it.
All
Not
right,
adding this time. You
and
said it well.
I'll let you go ahead
Okay.
and grab one too.
All right. See. Stacy Dell says one of the YouTube channels I've watched jokes about a secret button in the back to flip, but clearly she's joking. Boy, is this going to open up a soapbox between Brantley and I. This drives us nuts. It's like the volume thing and everything else. People say it in joking, but because this industry, everybody is just like, I don't want to use the word gullible, but they're just susceptible to this kind of stuff because they're desperately looking for an edge over the casino. And when people are in that level of desperation, they will look to anything that they will think might give them a better odds or chance on a slot machine. So the volume thing is like, why not? I'll turn it up. Maybe it'll increase the odds. It doesn't. But people hear that and then they run with it. And so this is yet just another one. The whole secret switch in the back. I mean, this is as old as time. This is
It's a
way
joke,
older than the
guys.
volume thing. Like
Yeah.
I've heard so many different variations of it. One of the ones we got on our channel was somebody saying, I watched a bunch of managers go into the back room and then suddenly everybody started losing. It's like they didn't go back there and flip some switch for everybody to start losing. And by the way, how do you know everybody is losing? I hate that too.
Yeah.
Um, just it really always comes down to the same thing, guys. You cannot manipulate a slot machine into paying you. It doesn't matter what you do. Just try to keep that in mind. They would never put skill or back doors or secrets or anything into a slot machine to give you some kind of edge. and that the casino doesn't get that either. I think that's the other part of this, is that people think casinos can control when wins or losses occur. I did a video on that, and oh my god, the comments I mean, just I don't even want to say anything about it. It was pretty bad. No, 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 no. They can set it to win whenever they want and lose. They're corrupt and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, guys, they can't. Like, I've gone through, and Brantley's the same way. We've gone through so many machines inside a casino, outside of the casino, and I can guarantee you 100% accuracy. There is nothing anybody can do to control when a win occurs or a loss occurs on a slot machine. They would never allow it to be sitting in a casino if that were the case. So just try to keep that in mind. Gives you a little bit more comfort that there's no flipping the back, a switch, and all this kind of stuff. Again, people are looking for something to blame for their loss on the casino, and that's just one of many.
Right. And just keep that in mind too. Like I know what you're referring to. It is obviously a joke, and it's the same thing as the volume thing. These are meant to be
They're
taken,
jokes,
tongue
yeah.
in cheek. They're meant to be, just jokes and stuff like that. I mean, hell, there are times, Mark and I have been sitting there playing and stuff, and or even other people, we're all sitting there playing in a group, and it's like, oh, wait, did you take your player's card out? Like, we joke around about stuff but it is a joke. That it's
Yeah,
not, it's not meant to be taken literally, and that's why we're here telling you, this is how they work. This is the true manner of how the slot machines work. So
right.
always just keep that in mind. Always just keep that in mind.
Well said.
And hey, we got another super chat here from G Bear 4.99. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Thoughts on paying for a bonus seems like a quick way to lose more money. You are absolutely correct. It is the
Yeah,
fastest way to lose
100%.
more money. Um, buying the bonus, we kind of explained this a little bit. There's actually a full episode in the YouTube library about buying a bonus. So I'm not going to go into too many details. But if you do want more details on this specific topic, be sure to go to the video library on YouTube and look for the video that is specific about buying a bonus. But essentially, the price that is calculated for buying the bonus is actually less than the average that the bonus will return. So if you want more details on that, again, check out that episode. But yes, thank you very much for your super chat. Really do appreciate it. Tim on Facebook asks, "Are there slot machines with better odds?" Thank you. So Tim, thank you for your question. And again, if you guys are out there watching on Facebook, be sure to come over to YouTube, since YouTube is the primary source of where we do have all these full videos, and we do have a lot of videos, guys. There's about 500 videos in the library that pretty much nails down a lot of these topics. Um, are there machines out there with better odds? Generally, yes, there are. But that's not really what the focus is on. Um, Odds and payback percentage, I've said this before with Mark too, is like the whole talk of RTP and payback percentage, that is the biggest thing in the slot community that needs to die, because nobody understands how it truly works. The odds of a
Right.
slot machine are not about you, the player. They're not about you in your individual session. They are not about a day or a week or a month or even a year. The odds on a slot machine are the long-term aggregate. That is the end result after every single person has played it. And it comes back to the mathematical principle that slot machines are based on, which is the law of large numbers. I encourage, actually, this is a good thing. I encourage every single person out there, if you have ever wondered about how a slot machine works and how odds work, I want you to go online, go on Google, go on Wikipedia, whatever, and look up the law of large numbers. That is the mathematical principle that slot machines are based on. And you will see graphs and how that actual projection takes place. I know math is not a favorite subject of a lot of people, but that is how RTP actually works. That is the mathematical principle of it. Are there slot machines that do have better odds? Yes, there are. But the biggest thing that you need to focus on is picking machines that are right and appropriate for your budget that you're working with at the time, and basing that your budget versus the volatility of the game that you're choosing. So we just said odds and RTP is the end result. Volatility is what happens between them. The variance and the volatility is how the game is going to play. How is the game going to get to that end result? That is going to be the volatility. That is going to be the variance. That is going to be all of those other details. Don't focus on the finish line, focus on the race that you're running. That's the biggest thing, is that race fitting for your budget that you're working with? That's the biggest key to really look for. So, again, highly encourage every single person after this, go Google it. Go look it up on Wikipedia. If you really truly want to understand how a slot machine works, go look up the law of large numbers. That is the mathematical exact principle that a slot machine uses. So thank you very much for your question. Really do appreciate it. All right, Mark, I can let you go ahead and take one.
Okay. Sounds good. Um, that's a good one. Heidi says, if the machines I play are controlled by the lottery commission, do they have more control on the payouts? No, they don't have more control over the payouts. It's just how the payouts are occurring is just different from having a self-contained random number generator in a machine. So again, with virtual lottery terminals, it's the whole try to imagine a stack of 100,000 scratch off tickets, and they are just being dispersed as people hit the spin button. It just goes down, 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 and then it refills. That's what's going on. But the casino cannot manipulate where in that stack the payouts are going to be or anything like that, and they don't know what it is either. They can't look it out and say, "Oh, in the next 11 spins, the lucky winner is going to hit a jackpot." No, they don't know that. They can't know that. There's controls in place to prevent that. So no, it doesn't give them any more control over payouts just because it's a VLT machine. Yeah, let's see. And Robert says, why does it seem like the rules will slow or speed up sometimes? It's really difficult to tell like what you're talking about unless we had like a video, but sometimes some of the newer games you've probably noticed where the reel will stop really fast. And it's really weird, but it's all about where the reel was when it started to spin based on the 22 stops that it had. So if it was really close to what the result was going to be, it's going to stop a lot quicker than if it has to go around one more time to get to that symbol, if that makes sense. So that's why sometimes you see them kind of fall really fast and then sometimes they fall really slow. It's just because where it was before on the previous spin, if that makes sense. Um, and I'll answer this one real quick because we talked about it a lot. Why does Indian casinos have the power to loosen and tighten slot machines at the wheel? They don't. Whoever's telling you that is completely wrong. It's wrong. It's just flat out wrong. That does not occur. If they are a licensed casino, whether they're Indian based or not, it doesn't make any difference. They don't have the power to just monkey with that stuff whenever they do. Just because an Indian casino is not state operated does not mean they don't have a gaming commission. Even Indian casinos have gaming commissions. Okay. It's part of the same tribe. And a lot of people say, oh, it's part of the same tribe. They're all fixed. The fix is in. No, it's a separate entity. They have to abide by rules too. And they control this. And how do we know this? Because Brantley and I have witnessed this in an Indian casino from start
And
to
I've done
finish.
it
And he's done it. So
many
it's like,
times.
that's just it's a false rumor. It's been out for a long time. There's we talked about this earlier. People just have something against Indian casinos and think that it's the Wild West when it comes
Yeah,
to
it's
like
not
setting
that's not
payback
the
returns,
case.
but it's not.
Tri
It's
tribal casinos are more highly regulated than even non-tribal casinos are. So always keep
right.
that in mind. Um, and let's see. This is actually a good
This is a
question.
good one.
This is
Yep.
actually a very good question. So thank you for asking. If RTP doesn't matter, then why play Cherry's Jubilee over a slot like Huff and More Puff? Because RTP is again not what you're focusing on. It's the design of the game. So, we talked about earlier in the episode, we gave the example of the Olympic sized swimming pool with the ping pong balls in it. And I had even specifically mentioned, Huff and More Puff. Imagine a Olympic sized swimming pool, but like 100 times the size. So let's use that same example. So the design of the game. So let's say you have Cherry's Jubilee at 93% and a Huff and Puff at 93%. Well, here's the thing. The Huff and Puff is the size of the Olympic swimming pool with 100 million ping pong balls in it. The Cherry's Jubilee is still 93%, but instead of an Olympic sized swimming pool, now you have a kiddie pool with maybe 1,000 balls in it. That is volatility. That is the variance. That is what you are looking for when you're picking a slot machine. How big is the pool? That is what you're looking for. RTP doesn't matter. RTP is not in that equation at all. So, you know, are you wanting to reach your arm in and try to grab ping pong balls out of a 100 million, 100 million deep Olympic sized swimming pool or out of a kiddie pool or a bucket? with only a couple hundred. It's how the game is designed. It's how those virtual reel strips are designed. It's how that game is designed to play out. So that's a good question, and I'm glad you asked that, because
That is very good.
that right there is what, if you want to be a better slots player, that's what you need to start looking for. If you're focused on RTP, I'll tell you this right now. I've said this a lot. If you are asking questions about RTP, you are in the wrong spot. You are in the absolute you're out of the ballpark. You're not focused on what is important. RTP has not, it doesn't really even have anything to do about you. That is the number that the casino looks at for the long projection of the machine being there. The variance, the volatility, how the game is designed, that is where your focus should be. So very good question. Very good. All right.
Well said. Mm. Deborah Davis says, when you hit a jackpot and a slot attendant comes over, what is the code that she's punching in, and does it affect the machine? No, it's a PIN number, just like you have for your downloading your free play and stuff. It's to validate that they're the ones putting it in, that they are who they are when they put the card in. All that's for record keeping. Who paid the jackpot? What time did they pay the jackpot? When did they return? That's what's going on there. They're not punching in a code to change payback percentages or anything like that. That's so restrictive. And no slot attendant would have access to that anyway. And no slot technician would have access without gaming being there. So, just keep that in mind. Let's see. This is a good one, and I don't really have a full answer for it, but we're trying to learn more. So Sue Anders says, since class 2 slots are bingo based, does volatility matter? There is still volatility in bingo style games, but it's slightly different than the class 3 versions. And I can't really tell you why yet. I just know that that's true. And so I'm trying to get more information because I want to be able to back that up with how, like, class 2. And I'm really trying hard to get some kind of contact out there that will tell us all about class 2 and all those details. So, stay tuned. We'll definitely get you some information there. And let's see. And Carl says, does Choctaw Durant have Ainsworth slots? I don't know. I've never been there, but I think Dave and I are going to try to be there this Saturday for the first time at Choctaw Durant. And so we'll look and see if they have Ainsworth. I will tell you, WinStar has a ton of them. It is a hotbed for Ainsworth slots. And there's a lot of games at WinStar that they don't have anywhere else. That's kind of where they test games to see how they perform. So if you really want to see what Ainsworth is up to, you got to go to WinStar, because there's so many there. So many that I've never even heard of before. So
Exactly. I'll take a couple here. We're actually
okay.
doing really good. I mean, we've got almost 750 of you in here watching, and everyone, be sure to hit that like button while you're at it. So if you're watching, make sure to hit that like button. Really appreciate that. Joseph says, are they going to raise the hand pay threshold? Probably not. They're
Yeah.
most likely not going to be raising that. We've got a short coming out on that here soon. I know it's a question. I try to do shorts for you guys, answering your questions as we go along. We do have a short coming out about that probably within the next couple of weeks. So, but no, they're probably not going to change it anytime soon. This is a good question. So, Tommy, we've been this whole episode, we've been given this example of the Olympic sized swimming pool. He asks, how do you know which game is an Olympic sized pool or a kiddie pool? It's actually pretty simple. All you have to do is evaluate the game when you sit down at it. The more complicated it is, the bigger the pool is going to be. The higher the multipliers are, the bigger the pool is going to be. The higher the potential is. Really easy. If you want one simple rule, all you have to do is this. You have your bet amount and you have the top line jackpot. And then you have this space in between. Cherry's Jubilee, for example, $3 max bet. Highest payout is the progressive for about $1,000. That's a pretty short gap. There's not much room in between there. Megabucks, $3 bet, $15 million. That's a big gap between that bet and the top line. That's a pretty big gap. The bigger that gap, the bigger the pool is going to be. If you want a real quick, easy way, that's the easiest way. The top line jackpot versus your bet. How close are they? You can do that with any game. Look at 10 times pay. $3, 10,000 credits. Double diamond, $3, 4,000 credits. The bigger that gap is, the bigger the pool is going to be. And that's a really just quick and easy way to tell about just how big the pool is. So good one.
Yeah,
Mark, I
perfect.
saved it. I saved this one just for you
I
because I
was thinking you probably would. Okay, so Roland Milan says there's a guy online that says there's an app that has a slots RNG history and can tell you which slots, what amount hits the most. Is this true? Well, if it's okay with you, Brantley, I'm going to plug the video I did.
yes, please, yeah, please do.
So on the Gamble Smart channel, we did a video last Wednesday, I think it was. It's one of our daily tips, and it was a warning about this app. It's called, if it's the same one, it's called Slot Check. Um, Guys, I want you guys to really focus in on something because, and go watch that video if you want to learn more about the app and what it's claiming and all that kind of stuff. But past data doesn't tell you anything about the future outcomes of a machine. Okay. I'm going to say that one more time because that's so important. Past data, the return to player, what has happened previously on a slot machine has no bearing on what is going to come next. Okay. A lot of scenarios here. You've seen somebody put thousands of dollars in a machine. It hasn't hit anything. You think it's due. So you go and play it. No difference. Same thing on the other side. You keep you playing a game and it's hot. And I'm using that in quotes because it just keeps giving you bonus rounds. So you don't want to get off the machine because it's hot. It's paying. It's in a paying cycle. No, it doesn't have anything to do with what's going to come in the future. So any application or person or slot attendant or anybody that tries to make a claim that says you should really go play these machines because they're the 10 hottest machines in this casino is useless information. It's useless as the roulette, we call it the dummy board, right? Where it's showing you what has happened previously on the roulette wheel. You may see 10 blacks in a row. That tells you nothing about what's going to come up. A lot of people will say, and that's the gambler's fallacy at work. A lot of people will say, it's got to be red. It's been 10 blacks in a row. The odds of that happening is astronomical. It is. But roulette is not a sequenced game. It's not a sequenced bet, meaning that it's not based on what has come previously. Every single ball spin going around is independent from what has happened in the future or in the past. And so I don't know why they put that board up there. It tells you nothing about what's going to happen in the future. So this is an attempt to do the same thing with slot machines, except I think this is way more dangerous because, and I give some examples in that video about people taking that information and pushing their boundaries because something tells them that this machine has paid 10 jackpots today and the one you're playing hasn't hit, you haven't hit a jackpot on it. So you want to go hit a jackpot. So I'm going to go play that. Oh, it's $100 double diamond machine. Kind of outside of my comfort zone. I really like playing dollars and $5. This app says it's going to give me a jackpot, so I'm going to go play that. And then you lose your ass. This is very real. And that's why I have a big problem with apps that claim that they can tell you based on past data and make suggestions about what's going to happen in the future. And the language that's being used there is know before you win, be a winner, all this kind of stuff. This is language that would be used if somebody's trying to steer you in the wrong direction based on information. And we just want you guys to be protected out there. And that's the reason that we did a video on that. I appreciate Brantley's support on that video. He helped out with it. We want to make sure that you guys understand that we can't let stuff like this continue because people are going to take it the wrong way because most people do not understand what we just described. They don't think of hot and cold. They think of hot and cold, but they don't understand what those actually mean for you when you're playing a slot machine. And it's super important and critical that you do understand that. Okay, so we're trying to protect you from that stuff. If you do use that information, just use it for anecdotal evidence. This just happens to be a good game because it's paid a lot of jackpots today, but don't use that as a mechanism for you to go play that machine. Okay, so just a warning. Thanks for
Very,
saving
very
that one
good.
for me, apparently.
And again, guys, if you haven't seen that episode, be sure to go watch it. It's over on the Gamble Smart channel. And again, that is linked in the video description down below. So be sure to go and check that out. Anyway, guys, we are at 1 hour and 15 minutes here. So we are going to go ahead and round out the show. If we missed your question tonight, do apologize. Got close to 800 of you in this chat today on all of our platforms. Really do appreciate each and every one of you being here. There is our website, which is on your screen, which is ropethejackpot.com/chat. It is 100% free to use. You guys can even chat with other people in your area. So maybe you're getting ready to go somewhere and you don't know if a casino has a particular game. You can actually go on this chat forum and you can talk to other people who are there and see if they have the game. And again, it's 100% free to use. So really do appreciate each and every one of you for being in here today. A lot of memberships were gifted today. 30 memberships were gifted. If you did
Crazy.
receive a gifted membership, tomorrow is Member Monday. It's always the same time, 7 p.m. Central. So be sure to tune into that member show tomorrow. And our next live stream is going to be episode number 9, which will be next Sunday at 7 p.m. Central. And again, guys, this is Mark with Gamble Smart. Be sure to go over and check out his channel, the Gamble Smart channel. It's a great channel, has a lot of really valuable information, and really, we have the same goal here, which is we want you guys to be safe and be smarter gamblers. That's it.
Absolutely.
I know sometimes we can get on the soapbox and all of that, but it is important stuff. It is
Yeah.
very important stuff. We
Just
we
trying to
want you guys
protect
to
you guys.
be, a smarter gambler is going to be, more responsible. Play responsibly, guys. Please do.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's going to do it for our show tonight. Really do appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Again, next live stream is going to be next Sunday at 7 p.m. Central. And as always, best of luck, stay safe, and we will see you again next episode. Take care, guys.